All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Coverage. Walsh, if you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting. They are the best in the business. That's why they're #1 in Pittsburgh. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Not only do roofing, they do siding, they do gutters, they do anything you need, inside, outside. I would give them a call, so I think you should too. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Give us a call right now on the Borders and Borders hotline. 412-575-2600 is the number. We're going to go right out to the hotline right now, taking your phone calls, and we are going to go out to Larry out in Green Tree first. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
It's Rich, but I'm doing well.
Okay, Rich, and tell Paul I said, listen, I want to say about the Penguins, Murray, he hasn't been really that great this year, and Smith, he's off and on, and I don't think the Penguins are going to make the playoffs.
You know what? I don't know if you're wrong there. I mean, like I said, I feel I have the same feeling I did with the Steelers, that they're in this territory right now where they're on the outside looking in. 75 points. Columbus has a game in hand. Carolina, they're at the last wild card spot, fighting for that spot. They play Montreal tomorrow. Montreal's a point ahead of them. So they got to win these games. Now you got Buffalo creeping in. I know Buffalo's still 7 points back, and there's 18 games left. The Penguins, if the Penguins win, the Penguins obviously need to win. They need to win more than they lose down the stretch in order to get in. I just think there's too much talent for them not to get in. But I also thought that of the Steelers too.
I think something like 10-8, 11-7 will get them in.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know.
I don't think Carolina and Montreal are that good.
Well, the Pens have the toughest schedule down the stretch.
I think one of those two teams is going to fall behind. But go ahead.
Well, they need one of the. They need either Montreal, right, Carolina, or Columbus. I don't know if Columbus is going anywhere.
I think Columbus.
Carolina's having one of those special seasons.
Columbus will be in. I think Carolina will probably be in the Penguins. That's my prediction.
Oh, you think Montreal's going to go
Montreal
up?
will be the odd team out. That's my prediction.
All right. Well, if I would guess a team that would be out, I would say Carolina. But at least the Penguins have games against these teams coming up. Montreal tomorrow. They play Columbus a couple times. They have Carolina on the schedule here coming up. They don't have any gimmies. Yeah. They don't play any easy teams down the stretch. It's a very tough schedule, but this is when you expect the Penguins to be at their best. They get up for games like this. And I just think sometimes, here again, we're Buffalo. Buffalo's no good, and then all of a sudden you get a Penguins team that kind of goes through the motions for 30 minutes of a 60-minute game.
Yeah.
All right, back out to the phone line. Let's go out to Jeremy out in Carnegie. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, Rich. Hey, Paul.
Hey, thanks
How you
for
guys
calling.
doing tonight?
Good.
Hey, I agree with everything Paul said about the Penguins. They need to buckle down on their D. They need to play. I mean, Murray needs to obviously play better. He let 2 soft goals in tonight. I thought he lost the game for the Penguins tonight. And then they had that terrible call by the refs. But that's neither here nor there.
That's the one thing. Do you think it was a terrible call? I mean, I've heard guys go both ways on this. Some said they looked at it. The letter of the law is he had control of the puck, but I guess you can argue, did he really have control of the puck?
Yeah.
It's up in the air,
Yeah. So they're going with goal.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for the Penguins.
That's one of those things where you go with what was called on the ice.
But with 3-on-3, the Penguins should be one of the best teams in the league. 3-on-3. Yeah. You have all those stars out there.
They had a number of chances to win that thing in the 3-on-3 before that goal happened. So
same as Philadelphia. Number of chances.
It's like the whole thing with the Saints. The Saints game, and people were talking about the pass interference.
Yeah.
They had a million ways they could have won that game after that pass interference call, so get over it.
I want to see these stars win a game for them because obviously you can't count on Murray coming up with the big save. That's kind of where I am right now. So, all right, let's go back out to the phone lines. We got Waylon. No, Waylon, we're going to get you in a second. We're going to continue the Pens conversation. We're going to go out to Tim in Pittsburgh. What's up, Tim?
Hey, gentlemen. I think it's become obvious this team has become the laughingstock of the NHL. I think they need to.
I don't know laughing stock. I don't agree with that. I mean,
They need to get rid of Sullivan because he won those 2 cups with Bob Smith players anyways, and trade Murray and trade Malkin and Kessel because they're just too much drama. They're an embarrassment.
Well, Tim, I don't think they're an embarrassment. I don't really think there's drama.
I think he was trying to be funny and
Was he?
sarcastic.
I don't need what he was trying to
yeah. You know, he won with Bausma's players. You know,
trying to compare it to
no, you know,
Steelers.
They've got drama.
Yeah.
We should trade this guy. We should. I mean, he was trying to be funny. Wait,
now I get it.
That was great.
All right, Thomas out in Duquesne. What's up, Thomas? What's up? You there?
Hi there.
Hey, thanks for calling.
I think I talked to you last week. I think the problem with the Pens is they're getting old, and the same team we had here 3 years is no longer there. Age is starting to creep up in all the games they played in the last few years.
Thomas, I want to disagree with you there. I don't think they're too old. They still got the best players in the league on that team. I mean, Sidney Crosby was still voted the best player in the league by his peers. Evgeny Malkin can take over games. Phil Kessel hasn't scored in, it seems like, a decade. You know, they have issues. These guys are stars. They're supposed to score. I know it's harder in hockey than, say, basketball to take over games.
Father Time is undefeated.
Father Time's undefeated, but these guys are still
They're still capable,
young.
but they're not young.
They don't.
How many years has Crosby? This is like, what, 15?
It seems like he's been playing for like 30 years.
When was his first year? 2005?
2004?
5? Something like that?
Yeah.
And what are we at now? 2019? We're talking about 15
March
years.
1st.
14, 15 years. I mean, that's a lot of games. And when you consider how many runs they made to the deep into the playoffs, he's probably played 3 or 4 extra seasons just in the playoffs. I mean, these guys are older, and you know what? A lot of teams are younger. And the Penguins are actually, if you look at their roster, they're one of the older teams in the league, if not the oldest team in the league. So he's not completely off. That doesn't mean they can't win. But I do think that, you know, and that's why I didn't like, you know, the deals they made at the deadline. I thought they made themselves slower, not faster. Teams want to play with speed. That's good that you wanted to get a goon that goes and fight people. That's not how you play the game anymore.
Well, they got guys like Jake Gensel. I mean, you want to kind of go with the youth movement, but they don't have some of the younger guys.
I think you need to go get like a younger star.
What are you going to give up to get a younger star?
Well,
you'd have to give up a Malkin or a...
There's pieces you can give up.
I don't even know if Murray would be worth anything nowadays, you know.
They have the first-round pick. They have a first-round pick this year. So my point is, he's not that far off. There's a point when a team's window closes because the stars get, you know, older, and there's a bunch of younger guys in the league.
All right, we're going to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls. Some of your tweets, maybe, coming up next. Stay right there.